Hello and welcome to Men Behind the Curtain, the podcast about everything and nothing all at once. I am Pitt.
I'm Eli. How's it going, y'all? Hope you're having a good week. Um, Real quick, I actually wanted to make an amendment to something that I said last week. We were talking about like some of the fan theories that we liked and everything.
Yeah.
Um, I totally forgot until like the day after we recorded. So my new favorite, so the Loki one that I mentioned before, that's just a headcanon. It's not that much of a fan theory. So the favorite fan theory that I had and the story we 100% deserved was Bran was the Night King.
Okay.
I love
Yeah, I
that
can.
theory.
Yeah, I can get behind that theory,
Well, all the
or I
tools were
should say, as
there.
it should have been.
Yeah. Well, like all the tools were there. So we see that when he's, we'll call it dream walking, that like there's a lot of different terms depending on what fiction that you're using. I'm going to call it dream walking because it's just easier. So the Night King can affect the physical realm when he's doing it because he grabbed his arm, right? We know that he can warg. He doesn't always witness. He can warg into somebody in the past, like Hodor. So, for those of y'all who haven't heard this theory, basically the theory goes is that after the war was over, that Bran would try to prevent the White Walkers from ever coming to be, but he fucked up and warged into the guy that they put the obsidian in. So then Bran becomes the Night King, and which essentially equates to he's been chasing himself the entire
Mhm.
time. Which I honestly love that theory. Um, the Night King had like one of the pieces that they used to build this theory was John. The Night King had multiple opportunities to kill John and chose not to. So it being Bran the whole time and that's his brother kind of makes sense.
Yeah,
And
yeah, but I, I
ma-
don't, I don't, I don't see the Night King having remorse or attachments to anybody.
that could be. It could also be. I floated a theory one time, and I think The Last of Us is probably. I think in The Last of Us, it actually is there because the cordyceps in The Last of Us, it more just pilots your body. You take a back seat. As far as I can tell, you're still alive, just not in any way that matters. Um, the theory that I've had is that what if there's a piece of you that's still inside when you turn into a zombie? Because, and the reason I say this, in every zombie story, take The Walking Dead for instance, whatever the zombie walker sees somebody they knew in life, immediately they just make a fucking beeline to them. For when fuck Norman Reedus, Daryl. When Daryl found Merle was in the middle of eating a dude. Merle didn't have to do shit, but Merle was like, and something in his brain said, "I know him." So I have a theory that when you're a zombie, there's a little piece of you still in there, and it's basically just watching you eat people. But I say all that to say, if that was true with Bran and the Night King, maybe there's a piece of him that recognizes John, but Night King Bran, quote unquote, doesn't know what to do with that. Maybe.
Okay.
Um, Also, if you want with that theory, why was the Night King hunting Bran? Well, because Bran eventually becomes the Night King. If you kill him before he goes back in time, no Night King. Maybe.
Maybe it's to end the cycle.
It could be. Um, Kind of almost like a reverse version of Looper with
Yeah.
Bruce Willis and Joseph Gordon-Levitt, which I still love that fucking movie. I think that was a little underrated.
Yeah, I think it was a good movie. My thing is, as going back to the Night King, is what happens to all those babies?
I think those are the ones who became actual White Walkers, not just the fucking. They called them. There were Whites, Wight, and then there were White Walkers, which you can separate in a book. because your brain is going to read one word or the other.
Yeah.
But when it's said aloud, like in a TV show, how the fuck do I know what you're talking about? Um, but I think the babies that he was getting from what's his name, Gilly's father, I think they became the actual White Walkers. Um,
So like
but
those generals.
yeah, I think that's what they became. Um, although actually, I just remembered one thing that hurts my theory because I said that maybe the Night King was intentionally letting John go because it didn't make sense. He kept letting him live. But I actually just saw an episode about a week ago where Samuel was north of the wall. The White Walker looked him dead in his fucking face and just kept walking. So I guess there's a precedent of them letting people go for no apparent reason. So it kind of hurts my theory that I just said, but still.
Well, I mean, he probably didn't use Sam as a threat. Maybe it was one of those type things.
Maybe because on the one hand, he's not a threat to your army, but on the other hand, every corpse you kill is an eventual soldier. And
Yeah.
Samwell was not a small dude, so he could have made a good one.
Yeah.
But
Well, then that adds into your theory that Bran is the Night King because he would know that maybe Sam would have played into a bigger part down the line before you know this is something that having that ability to travel the network, if you will. This would
yeah,
have this would give him more knowledge because I mean Night King wasn't stupid.
no, he was just other than the world domination thing. Like we don't really know anything because he didn't get any dialogue.
Yeah, well, I mean he did wear that crest that Bran wore all the time too. That
Hang on,
little
I gotta go.
pendant. That like
Yeah,
yeah, I think it's something from House Stark, I believe. But
let's shit. Now I gotta go back and now I know there's a theory in the books that a Stark from hundreds of years ago is the current Night King. Because if I remember correctly, I think it was maybe Brandon the Builder, maybe. I'm not sure. But one of them fell in love with one of these White Walkers or something like that, and it could have birthed the quote race that we know in the show.
yeah, I'm just
Um,
trying to think of how that works.
well, considering I don't think Martin will ever finish his fucking stories, we may never know. Um, your pendant. Let me see that. I gotta Google that. No, God. Okay, there it is. Oh shit, you're right. I'm gonna share my screen here. Da, 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 da. So you might or might not be able to see this because I know that you're using your phone, but anybody on YouTube is gonna be able to see this. Um, Ignore these ones over here. Somebody made a fucking gold and silver chain of the Night King's head, which cool, but whatever. But no, yeah, this brooch, pendant, whatever it is, I never caught that. So it wouldn't be Brandon's because Bran went back in time. He was warging into somebody else entirely. So he doesn't get the pendant from himself. So we can rule that out. But now that you mention it, he probably was a Stark. And they love their foreshadowing and Easter eggs so much. There's no way that was an accident.
Yeah.
So
So,
that's an interesting one.
but yeah, no, I think your little theory holds weight. It'd be nice if Martin would get off his ass and finish it up. You know, just let fucking
I
AI do it for you, dude.
so
Just put in all five fucking books and let AI finish the rest of it.
So here's actually one theory that I heard about it, which I think is a valid theory. So, books or no books, we do know that George Martin stayed on as a consultant with the show. Um, the Hodor scene came directly from Martin. So he was involved with it and he was making sure that the story they told was at least similar to the story he planned to write. I think the fan reaction, especially to season 8, I think he lost his courage. I don't think he wants to publish it because he's probably afraid of getting that uh, backlash all over again.
Well, my thing is I think he probably had a completely different ending.
If he had a different ending, I would say that's all the more reason he should finish it because then he can quote unquote fix what HBO got wrong. Um,
Yeah, I mean, I honestly would have liked to have seen, the Army of the North, you know, go up, go up against, that Daenerys's army, as in
is
like,
that good?
they now know what Daenerys intends to do, and the only people left to stop them is the Army of the North.
Yeah. One thing that I will say, though, I really enjoyed, I think it was referred to as the Battle of Winterfell when they actually did fight the White Walkers and everything. Um, I know it was a fan criticism about how dark it was, but I actually am of the opinion that that made it better because horror makers, horror writers, film directors, etc., they say this all the time. No monster they can put on screen is going to be scarier than what you can imagine. So the fact that we saw um the fucking horseman, I don't what Cal Drogo was. I can't I'm spacing on it. Uh the Kalasar.
Uh,
So
yeah, shit, dude, you just made Dothraki.
the Dothraki, yeah. Because I believe they were the first wave, if I remember right. Because I remember everybody going on horseback, and Jorah is one of the few people who came back. The way that they all just rode off and then just fucking died in the dark with nothing but a cacophony of screams, I think was way more terrifying than actually watching it happen. Because you just see all of the fires just just all of them just snuffed out.
Yeah, but for me, I'm one of those people. I like to see what the fuck's going on, which there's nothing really you could see, and I agree with you. Uh, Having that in your mind is a lot more terrifying than actually seeing it. But for some of the stuff, I turn up the brightness so I can actually see what the fuck's going on.
I think we did that, and I still couldn't fucking see anything.
Yeah, yeah. All right, so we actually do have a couple catastrophes for you this week, and one of them does come from our friend I love 269. Whoever you are, thank you. Um, so our first one is what's the worst TV reboot so far?
Oh, the easy one that I could say would be Teen Titans Go, but I actually like Teen Titans Go. I think as long as you look at it for what it is, I think it's a good show, and they like to thumb their nose at a lot of the fans sometimes, which I honestly appreciate.
Mhm.
Um, but the worst reboot, I can think of bad movie reboots, like Vince Vaughn's Psycho. Terrible fucking reboot. Absolutely pointless. Um, TV reboots, I can't really think of that many. So go ahead and give your answer. I'm trying to think on this here.
All right, so I actually have two, but I think one is worse than the other because I think they failed with the storyline. They could have had something fucking great and brought back some other uh, characters and actors for it. So my first one is the Magnum PI TV reboot. Uh, that was miserable, but and I tried to watch several episodes of this and just couldn't do it. Was the MacGyver reboot because
Really?
fucking they rebooted it as in the main character, the guy they brought in. I can't remember his name, but the guy they brought in is Angus MacGyver. All they fucking had to do and make it a great fucking reboot was just make it, Richard Dean Anderson's son, MacGyver. He's Angus MacGyver Jr. And you could have kept going. He's got in with the Phoenix Foundation, and you could have brought Richard Dean Anderson back for fucking cameos or whatnot. It's like, hey, I'm going to see my dad, or shit like that. But no, they fucking rebooted the whole goddamn fucking show right from the start, same fucking premise, and it was like, this is shit.
So honestly, I don't mind that because what you're pitching essentially is it's a 007 situation. How his son just takes that fucking mantle. Like it's not the same as 007, but it's kind of similar to that. You also reminded me there was a cartoon when I was a kid. It was James Bond Jr.
Oh
and
shit.
and he even did the same introduction. So those of y'all who have watched any of the movies, at one point he always introduces himself and says Bond, James Bond. Well, in the cartoon, he did it too. He said Bond, James Bond, Jr. So
See,
what you said, it kind of reminds me of that.
yeah,
Um,
my thing is with Bond. James Bond is just a fucking code name.
true. So a couple that you made me think of. I remember there was the Hawaii Five O, which I didn't really watch it, but it seemed a little bit cheesy for me. Um, but actually, no, fucking Walker. And I say that I never actually watched a single episode of it, but I think that was a terrible idea. Nobody asked for this.
I didn't even know they
Um,
fucking rebooted Walker.
it was with Jared Padalecki right after the end of Supernatural. So he jumped from Supernatural, and if you don't remember, he's the tall one, Sam. He jumped off of that. He went straight into a fucking Walker show made by a lot of the same people. And I'm like, if you're gonna redo a Chuck Norris project, Chuck Norris isn't the only one that this applies to, but he's the one that we're talking about. If you're gonna redo a Chuck Norris project, pick somebody who can fucking fight.
Has that hidden fist in the beard.
Right. Like, I never watched it. I didn't see how the scenes go, but like Jared Padalecki, we saw him in Supernatural for years. He handles guns. He fucking gets into fist fights with demons, but he's not a martial artist. He just brawls really well. Um, for example, like me and you have talked a few times about the Highlander uh, reboot that they're doing, and conversely, we know that Henry Cavill can handle a sword because we watched him do it on The Witcher, and those were broadswords too, both of them. So those are heavy. So we know he can handle that, which I think is partly why I want to see him fight with the Clan MacLeod sword, not find a way to give him a samurai.
Oh
which
yeah.
which don't get me wrong, I love samurai swords. They're beautiful fucking swords. I love the hilt in both of those. I forget who had who between Connor and Duncan. One had a snake, one had a dragon. But beautiful craftsmanship. I love the swords. But you found a way to put a samurai in two Scottish men's hands. We don't have to do that with Cavill.
All right. Our next catastrophe. What's something you what's something you only do when you are bored?
Fucking doom scrolling just online.
Oh, I thought you were
With
gonna say masturbating at first.
that's happened a time or two. But no, just when I get to the point that I'm just doom scrolling and I'm just looking for something, I am bored to fucking tears. There's just nothing to do. I don't even post that much anymore. I probably should get back to that. I have a lot of shit in my inbox right now. But yeah, I just scroll. Like that's I feel like that's kind of how we've all devolved at this point. If you're bored, you just doom scroll online, which is a really bad habit, but I don't have a substitute at the moment.
I pretty much just stand around and make clicking noises like I'm some kind of velociraptor. Like, so like yeah, that that's pretty much it. So,
I know that I do that a lot at work, especially like if I'm searching for something in the middle of a conversation. I know my coworker Caitlin, she's heard me make all the fucking weird ass noises. Yeah, I'll click like just all kinds of weird shit.
All right, this one's from I Love 269. Is a hot dog a sandwich?
Um, I would say technically yes, because I mean it is on a bun, and if you think about it, the way that it sits, the way that it's built, how is this different from a submarine? You know, anything from Subway, Penn Station, any of those. It sits kind of on its side, kind of upright, and you has the same type of cut, and we refer to those as sandwiches. So, yeah, I would say technically it is, even though it is not a quality sandwich.
Well, for me, I say a hot dog's a fucking sausage, but since we're gonna take it into context that the question was given, hot dog's a taco.
I mean, if we're gonna go that route, then is a taco just a crunchy sandwich?
I think they're all sandwiches.
Yeah, I mean, like tacos, maybe, but a burrito, you can definitely make the case that that's a sandwich because, like, yeah, it's that's a sandwich in every context of the word. It's just that those usually hold together a little bit better.
All right, and our last catastrophe. If you could be best friends with a character in any animated series, who would you choose?
Definitely not Peter because the amount of chaos that comes from being that man's friend. uh, I'm gonna pull a random one here. I think I might say Francine from American Dad, because if I'm best friends with Francine, I am close enough to witness the shenanigans, but I don't have to be involved in them.
uh, I'm gonna go with my probably my favorite. I don't know if you can really call him a villain, but I'm gonna go with the Doof, Doctor Doof. I would have to sit back and say, like, dude, why are you putting a self destruct button on there? You know it's only gonna get fucking hit. It's like, stop it, the whole nature thing.
Actually, and you know what? One thing you just made me think about. He- If he would kind of need a best friend because who else is going to believe him that his arch enemy is a fucking platypus? If you never saw it happen and he just told you that, you would think he had a fucking drug cocktail. But but if you happen to watch it, like if Doofenshmirtz has a best friend, he's gonna see it eventually. Or that actually could even make for the hilarity is that Perry acts right as soon as his friend turns.
Just a platypus. They don't do much.
And Doofenshmirtz is losing his shit over here, like, yeah, it's not just regular platypus. Honestly, that could be fucking hilarious too. But
Oh
no,
yeah.
I'll give you that one. But no, I'm gonna stick with my answer of Francine because that would make such an interesting life. That an interesting yet I'm not in danger.
All right, well, that's our catastrophe for this week. If you got any recommendations, you can email us at menbehindcurtain@gmail.com, or you can email me at daviwhit42 at gmail.com. That's DAVIWHIT 42 at gmail.com.
Which, as always, I'll put both of those emails address in the description below. Whether you're listening on Spreaker, Spotify, or if you're watching us on YouTube. Hang on one second.
Yeah.
My daughter came out here to tell me about something that's happening on Saturday. Like, you didn't have to do this right now.
You need a little a little light outside the door going like on air.
Honestly, that's not a bad idea, but I might do that. Um, but actually, and I had another random one, and I meant to when I was trying to think of topics and everything last week, I had this and I lost it. But tell me a movie where you think we deserved a sequel.
Uh, a movie where we deserved a sequel. Hmm. I don't know. That's a pretty tough one. Uh, I don't know. I got to think on that one for a moment.
So I have my answer for this one, but before I get to that, I will say an honorable mention. And the reason this is an honorable mention is that, to my knowledge, they are working on it, which is a sequel to Constantine. I would absolutely love to see that. But the movie that I was thinking of, and in my head canon, we have a sequel. We don't recognize it as one. Is World War Z. And while I acknowledge World War Z in and of itself was an okay movie, it has a lot of story to it. I haven't read the books, but I know that in the books, for example, during the wintertime, the zombies start to freeze and they get a little bit of, well, it's not rigor mortis. No, they're just freezing because their blood's not pumping and keeping them warm. So it's actually easier to kill scores of them in the wintertime. Um, but just like at the end of the movie, Brad Pitt figures out a way to camouflage so that they can fight back. And so that's something where I think there was a lot of story to tell, even if you didn't think the movie itself was great, and it was okay. And honestly, you don't even have to bring Brad Pitt back for that. Like, Brad Pitt's done his part as a character. There's no reason to bring him back. But I said that in my headcanon, we have a sequel, is Train to Busan.
Hmm.
'Cause if you think about it, they turn just as fast and they're just as aggressive. So while you have Brad Pitt, you know, just hopping all over the world trying to figure out what Patient Zero was, what started it. If you remove that and you envision a place that had no military response, they were not prepared for this shit at all. Honestly, Train to Busan is a lot of how that would play out. I didn't see the sequel to that Peninsula. I heard that it was terrible, but I like the idea that Train to Busan and World War Z exist in the same universe. Also, really cool if you never caught it. So the father in Train to Busan, he was in Squid Game. He was the guy that they sent out to play the fucking not card, but the game in the subway.
Oh, okay.
Dodgy, I think it was. Like,
Yeah.
and when he would win, he would just slap the fuck out of you. That was the dude from Train to Busan.
Huh. I don't know. I think about it, and it really wasn't a popular movie. But it had like Matt Damon and Pedro Pascal was that the Great Wall, where they had to take on like these really evil, like demonic
Yeah,
creatures.
yeah.
Well, I think if you were to do a sequel with that, so we got the whole thing. We know they've been around, they've been doing this for like centuries and whatnot, and they do this like every 60 years. What I think would be really cool is if you brought that sequel up into modern day, like all of a sudden these things come back, and now it's, you know, you've got to take them out. Now you've got like more, you know, weapons available to you, but it's still, I think it turns into that whole, oh no, we're, like actually, now that I think about it, there's this movie that was on Amazon that had Chris Pratt and Tomorrow War.
I was wondering if that's what you were talking about.
Yeah. Oh, that would be great to have as a fucking sequel.
And you know what? Actually, one I thought we were getting a sequel was Tom Cruise's movie Edge of Tomorrow.
Oh, that was a great fucking movie.
I I thought it was good. I still maintain that Tom Cruise has not acted since The Last Samurai. But no, I did enjoy Edge of Tomorrow. Um, and I'd be really curious to see how does he have any kind of standing friendship with Emily Blunt's character after all of this?
Right.
Because at the end of the movie, she's in the training room where she originally kept meeting him. Now, theoretically, he could tell her, "Hey, I was you. I had the same thing that you had during this battle, yada yada yada." So they might have like some kind of kinship in that, but effectively the war was over, at least as far as they know. So would she have any reason to maintain a friendship with him? Probably not. Um, but if we got a sequel to that, that could be the aliens coming back, with a vengeance and all that shit, like Independence Day.
Yep.
Which, you know what? I'm gonna bring that one up too. We were supposed to get a sequel, and I'm actually glad we didn't for Independence Day.
There's two of them.
They never made the third one.
What?
Uh, they were gonna, because Will Smith was originally going to be in 2 and 3, and they had a falling out. Um,
Well, he
basically, they
decided.
didn't.
Yeah, he decided to skip on Independence Day too, so he can do that Suicide Squad.
Was that why?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, my understanding of it is Fox didn't want to pay him what he asked for. He was asking for 50 million to do both sequels, which Will Smith was like their marquee character. Yes, they had Jeff Goldblum. Yes, they had Bill Pullman. They had a couple other, good, really good actors in the first movie, but Will Smith was the hero of the movie. And I know Jamie Foxx said that he made, I mean, Will Smith made $20 million to do the Muhammad Ali movie. So I don't think that him asking for uh 50 for 2 movies, I don't think that he was asking an exorbitant amount. Yes, it's exorbitant in the way we think of $50 million, but when you consider what he normally makes, and Fox could have paid it, I think they should have. But I'm looking. So yeah, there was the regular Independence Day, then there was Resurgence. There was supposed to be a third movie, but it never got made. Wait a minute. What the fuck? There's a poster here with a concept trailer. Yeah, but yeah, no, it never actually got made.
Hmm. I hope it doesn't.
I honestly hope so too. I know the plan was in the second movie they come back, they attack again, and then for the third movie, we're gonna go on the offensive. Which, how do you do that when we don't know where the fuck they're from? um, but yeah, that was supposed to be the third movie, but the second movie was so disappointing. No, please don't make it. And yeah, you had a one has to go. Let me go back to that. So yeah, so you had Hamilton, Into the Woods, Little Shop of Horrors, and Grease.
Yeah.
And so honestly, I'm gonna kind of pick one at random here because these are all musicals and I haven't watched any of them. Um, I know that actually, so Grease I know was adapted into a movie. That's how John Travolta got famous. I think Little Shop of Horrors and Into the Woods was a movie, wasn't it? Or
Yeah, they
adapted
both made
into
it,
one?
adapted into movies. Yeah. There's the Little Shop of Horrors that was theatrical version had Rick Moranis, Steve Martin.
Okay. Yep. So my answer to these kind of have to keep Grease because if there's no play, then there's no movie. And if there's no movie, we've probably never heard of John Travolta, which he does have a few good movies to his resume. I loved him in Face Off. Um, I actually still enjoyed the Punisher movie that he was a part of. I like that. Um, I'm sure there's a couple other ones if I think about it. So just for the sake of keeping Travolta, I'm keeping Grease. I'm keeping Hamilton for the simple fact that when he did a play about the founding fathers, but he's doing hip hop musicals, he pissed so many people off, and I enjoyed the hell out of that. So of those, I think I'm gonna also keep Little Shop of Horrors. So Into the Woods goes. And the reason I'm saying that is I know more about it, and I would say that it's had more of a cultural impact. So that's my measuring stick because I have not watched any of these, but I know the cultural impact of Grease. I know the cultural impact of Hamilton, and I know some with Little Shop of Horrors.
Yeah. So this one was extremely difficult for me because half of them I've been in stage productions, and one of them I want to be part of that stage production. I'd give my left nut, you know, because yeah, I would love to do it. So because for me, Into the Woods is actually my favorite, musical Broadway performance of all time. I was Kaniki in Grease, and I was Dr. Orson Scrivello in Little Shop of Horrors. Now Hamilton is fairly new, so it's beyond the time that I was actually, a stage performer. Um, However, absolutely love Hamilton. Uh, Love Into the Woods, even the theatrical adaptation. Love Little Shop of Horrors, even the theatrical adaptation. Grease, I love, but I'd have to get rid of Grease. And only because and it's because I think a lot of people missed the overall concept of the ending. So the whole thing, where they're talking about, I met a girl, thought she was grand. Sandy drowned that summer as, you know, she was trying to be revived, but she actually died. So the whole school year, up to the point with the flying car, is all just in her head before she passes. That car going off into the air is her essence leaving, you know, this ethereal plane.
Yeah, that makes the movie really fucking dark.
But that's the
uh,
thematic analysis on it. I mean, that's just it. So I unfortunately would have to eliminate Grease because you're never going to see me get rid of Into the Woods. You're never going to see me get rid of Little Shop of Horrors. Hamilton, I just is all around freaking great, just because it pissed a lot of people off, like you said. Um, but yeah, it would have to be Grease.
so the funny thing with that, so I didn't know this until you just said the line. I didn't realize that Puddle of Mud's She Hates Me starts with a reference to that. The opening line is met a girl, thought she was grand. So I didn't realize that. One thing I will say, just kind of piggybacking on that. So my son recently, it's the end of the school year. I guess his art class or all of the art classes were putting some stuff up on display, so you parents could come and see, some of the artistic things that some of their kids have made. Some were really cool. Somebody made like a giant fucking PSP with Spider-Man 2 on there for the screen, and they did a really cool drawing. It's a big ass like paper mache type thing, but then they went ahead and painted and drew the images on there. It was really cool. But so their drama club was performing when we first went in. And it's funny because there's this one girl, she sticks into my head because I picked up on I'm watching them perform and I could tell she really fucking loves this. And the reason I could tell that she loves it is her facial expressions kept changing to the tone of what they were doing. Like she was much more like into character than what some of the other kids were doing, and I'm like, she's somebody who fucking loves this, and like, I would be surprised if she ever stops doing it. Honestly, like that's what her enthusiasm was. But anyway, so one time I'm picking him up from, I think it was the winter concert because he's in band. He plays trombone. Um, Actually, and he's the only eighth grader who has made it into symphonic band for next year.
Nice.
Which I told him, I'm like, you can have so much fun with that because they use symphonic bands yeah, they use those kind of bands for like movie scores. Like I played for him some of the Hans Zimmer stuff from Interstellar. Hans Zimmer is a fucking amazing composer.
Yes.
Um, but anyway, getting I'm way off track. But what I'm getting him from the concert. So Drama Club has up, they have a poster there doing Shrek the musical, right? And my first thought with this, I'm like, this is just if I was one of the students, I'm like, if we do this play and you do not put All Star somewhere in the fucking play, I am walking because fuck this play. Because
So
even though they use it, I think only at the beginning, but it sets the tone so well. But sorry,
yeah,
go ahead.
but yeah, you're sitting there talking about you're letting listen to Hans Zimmer. Have when you get a chance, sit down and with him and listen to Hades Town.
Can I find that on Spotify?
Yes, you can.
Actually, I'm just gonna do a search over here just so I keep it in my head.
I would say Hades Town and Epic the Musical.
So I do know a little bit of Epic the Musical. Well, to be specific, there was a sound that got very popular on TikTok, and you probably know the one I'm talking about. Was the "Get in the Water"?
Yeah.
I have seen so many people put their own spin on this song. Some of them like to put on makeup and is this supposed to be it's supposed to be Poseidon, right?
Yes.
So yeah, they'll put on makeup and everything, try to cosplay as Poseidon. Like I've seen so many different spins. And honestly, it's fucking dope. It, Again, I don't watch musicals. I'm not saying that to shit on them because if it's not for me, that it's just not for me. That doesn't mean it's bad, which a lot of you fuckers need to learn. Like just because you didn't like it doesn't mean it was bad. It's just not up your alley, and that's okay. But yeah, I've seen that with Epic on that particular song. I love I like that song and I love the spin I've seen a lot of people put on it. Um I'll go ahead and check this one out though, Hades Town.
Yeah.
Um
My favorite my favorite track from Hades Town is Wait for Me. And when you hear it, you're gonna understand why.
um
By the way, the lead chorus, that's a male vocal that is in there, just so you know.
so we got some Earth, Wind and Fire type shit going on.
It basically just to give you a gist of it, Hades Town. It's like it's basically a jazz musical. It's filled with jazz music. I mean, there's
Okay.
even particularly the scene with the Persephone when she comes in, Our Lady of the Underground. Um, you get the jazz and the trombone in it is just absolutely phenomenal.
Okay. I do know. So one thing my son is doing, he's doing the same thing that I used to do, because I used to play saxophone. And honestly, probably a lot of kids do this, probably a lot more than I would think. But he starts learning certain songs by sound. Like when I was a kid, I learned on saxophone like the Imperial March. Like you just hear it and then you try to mimic it. Um, he's actually picked up Castlevania's Bloody Tears. Like, do you
Oh
know that?
yeah,
So um, you know what? I'm just gonna go to YouTube and I'm gonna share this because
see because that's how I played every single instrument is because I'm actually because I have dyslexia and it is damn near impossible to read music when you have dyslexia. So I would actually write down, the fingerings like on trumpet or saxophone or whatever it was, almost like a
yeah,
tablature. But I would like when I was playing trumpet, I know exactly how much force to put through the mouthpiece to create that sound. And yeah,
Okay. Hmm. So, all right, I'm waiting on the ad here. So now this particular YouTube is done by a guy named Samuel Kim. He does a lot of epic versions of music. But this is one that I think is absolutely phenomenal. So let me turn my. This is like a what? How long is this fucking track? This is about 4.5 minutes.
yeah.
Like, and you can actually go on YouTube and look it up. Like, this is actually straight from the video game. Even as far back as like some of the 16-bit games, they used a variation of this song.
Oh shit.
So the way that they adapted it into the show and the way this dude Samuel Kim did an epic version, you can absolutely hear the symphony in that. And and so when he told me he's doing symphonic band, I'm like, dude, you should see if you can play this kind of shit.
What you should do is get him to beatbox and play the trombone at the same time. Like that guy who
That
beatboxes and plays the flute at the same time.
Um, have you ever seen this dude? And I'll put the link in the description. Have you seen this dude? He plays Michael Jackson's Thriller on two acoustic guitars at the same time.
No, I haven't seen that.
It's fucking amazing because he's got the one on the table, and so that's what he's doing, like the bass to it. The dum 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 dum, and then he's using the one up here, and he's just playing the neck, and he's basically using that for. No, I got it backwards. I'm sorry. So he's doing that the bass line on the one here, the one on the table he's doing for the vocal parts.
Huh.
It's a fucking amazing video. I'll drop it in here. This dude Luca Strag something. I cannot pronounce his last name, but he's got a bunch of them on there. He's got a few M&Ms, like he did Till I Collapse, the one with Nate Dogg on the hook.
Okay.
Like he fucking rips that on the guitar. Like he has some really, really good ones. Um,
Since I
hell,
brought up beatboxing, have you seen that Russian beatboxer? Have you heard him?
no, I don't think I have.
Oh my god, dude! No, look it up. Just type in Russian beatboxer, and he starts off like feel the pressure, and then breaks in this like fucking EDM type beatbox, and it's like, oh fuck.
So let me go ahead and share my screen again here, and you can tell me when I've got the right one.
I mean, the way this guy's going, it's like I want to hear like this whole song. It's like I would be at a fucking club with glow sticks just fucking going to town.
Is this the guy?
I don't know. I'm waiting for your YouTube to come up.
Oh shit. Um, it would. I thought I was sharing. Okay, fuck. Oh, I hit cancel when I thought I hit share.
Um, I know he's got short hair. I know that.
Okay.
Well, kind of short but shaggy hair.
Um,
It might be that one right there.
this
I
one.
think it might be it.
All right, let's pull this guy up.
Book on dollar.com to get our lowest rate.
Yay, ads. You're
And then
not getting free advertising on our fucking show, people.
God
But that's
damn.
that's not the song I'm talking about.
Gotta say it's so you.
No, it's that could be him, but because I'm looking at a very tiny fucking screen, but he like put Feel the Pressure after the fucking Russian beatbox. Like, see if that changes it.
Hang on.
Yeah,
Okay.
with the yeah, that dude.
Feel the pressure.
Whoa! Motherfucker, how?
I don't know if he has like a loop pedal with him or anything like that, but I mean, if if that's without a fucking loop pedal, holy fuck. If that's with a loop pedal, holy fuck.
See, here's one question I always have to ask myself when I see somebody doing this. This is a skill that takes a lot of time. And how are you going about this? Like, this is totally going to be worth it. Like,
Like I
and
said,
no shade. Go ahead.
I could drive down. I can just down it all the way up, just driving down the street with that. I mean, that's fucking on point.
No, it's fucking amazing. And I hope that he's actually like making money off of this platform because he fucking deserves it because that takes a lot of ability. But I'm just wondering, like, this is not a thing that people typically do. So you can't. Nobody says I'm going to be a professional beatboxer. That's just not a thing. So before you get to this point where you get recognition, like the road leading up to it, how do you stay on it? Like kudos to him for doing it, but I would just there's so many times I'm like, what is this for?
Yeah,
Yeah, no,
it's like, what? Take my daughter out. What do you do? I'm a beatboxer.
right. Yeah, and I'll put a link to this in the description if y'all want to go there, if y'all want to check out his platform or whatever. Um, yeah, that that's fucking wild. Um, one thing that made me think of this was really, really random. Do you remember the quote unquote beatboxing that Will Smith was doing in Men in Black 2 at the post office?
Oh yeah, the alien speak. Yeah,
Yeah. Well, that particular one that Will Smith was doing, he did that the exact same, rhythm back on the Fresh Prince.
oh really? I didn't know
I came,
that.
I came across an episode he was doing it, I think with Ashley, because Ashley liked him. Actually, she was probably the only one who really liked him. Like Carlton grows to like him. I don't think Hillary likes anyone, to be honest.
No,
But Ashley was the only one who liked him from jump. And she was real musically inclined. Like he got her the drum set. So yeah, he was probably hanging out with Ashley when he was doing that beatboxing. But yeah, the one that he did in Men in Black when he's talking to Biz Markie, he does that exact same rhythm way back when on the Fresh Prince. I thought that was
shit.
crazy.
It's kind of like the whole riff off thing in Pitch Perfect.
Yeah,
Where
kind of.
where you had the like, especially in Pitch Perfect 2, where you had the DSM, DSM, and then you got the guy who shit, what's his name? He's Jimmy Fallon's band director.
Oh, well, I don't remember anymore because Fallon had the
He
Roots,
has
but I
like
know they left.
the really
Oh,
big
Questlove,
the
Questlove.
Questlove, yeah. So you
Yeah.
had Questlove and the guy from the DSM doing the a beatbox rip off, you know, like follow the beat. So and then he does these like these cat scratches and whatnot.
So funny story because you mentioned Pitch Perfect. I saw a video one time. Anna Kendrick is watching herself do, the cup song, and she's like, "Is it bad that I'm distracted by my own cleavage?"
By the
And
way,
I'm like,
she is in the theatrical adaptation of Into the Woods.
okay. Um, I know Anna Kendrick is somebody like I'm not a huge fan of her, but like I guess I'm like kind of coming around on her. I thought it was funny. She was on The Daily Show one time, long, long time ago. She first came out, And if you've ever seen the videos online, Trevor Noah, at least, he loved interacting with the audience. They'll do their segments for television, but then in between cuts, he'll just talk and have rapport with the audience. Anna Kendrick came out one time, and this woman in the audience said that Anna Kendrick was one of her husband's hall passes, which Anna Kendrick thought that that was hilarious. I was over here like, Anna Kendrick, like, she's not unattractive, but like, I would have shot higher.
Oh, the way they have her character dressed in the very first Pitch Perfect, character's named Becca Mitchell. She kind of has, for me, kind of had that whole cross between grunge, emo, goth feel to her EDM style. That was like, yeah, yeah, that's doing it for me.
I honestly, I might have to look that up because I know, just as an example, like we've talked about like Rhea Ripley on here, and like Rhea Ripley, as of right now, the tattoos, the dark makeup, like she's had me in an absolute fucking chokehold for like 2, 3 years now. However,
Hmm.
if you go back and you look at the old pictures of her, like before she got her septum piercing, before she got most of her tattoos, she had long, like dirty blonde hair, but she's still fucking gorgeous even back then.
Yes.
So now taking that same template, for lack of a better word, apply that to Anna Kendrick, and I'm like, I might have to check that out.
I don't even watch wrestling, and Mammy does it for me.
Yeah, I yeah, and here's the crazy thing is like she's like 26, 27 years old. She's very, very young in the industry. Um, she knows exactly what she's doing. She knows that she has basically the entire male audience wrapped around her finger. She's well fucking aware of that. But 26, 27 years old, honestly, I don't think she's peaked yet in really anything. I mean that as a performer, I mean that, just how attractive she as a person is going to get. I don't think she's peaked yet.
Are we looking at possibly the next WWE superstar to come out of wrestling into the film industry and hit it big?
Honestly, I wouldn't mind seeing her doing it. I know Roman Reigns is doing it right now because in his case, I know I think it was leukemia, something like that. His in-ring career is winding down. I know he's talking about it, but Rhea Ripley, I would not be upset about that. Rhea Ripley is one of those that when my wife walks in and she's on the TV, I am trying my fucking hardest to act civilized.
Well, knowing T's probably like, I want to say half the shit he's thinking.
I know, like I have sent her some of the pictures and stuff, like because a couple of them I follow on Instagram, and I'm like, can you blame me?
No, but I think because Mandalorian, Gia Carano's character is no longer on the show. But I mean, I think Rhea Ripley could be a great fill-in for that character.
Oh, she would be so fucking badass. Or, or hell, Gwendolyn Christie is taller than her, but she
Hmm.
could have done Phasma too.
Oh yeah.
And honestly, it wouldn't even be that big of an adjustment, like if they recasted it or something. Because Rhea Ripley's Australian. I know Gwendolyn Christie is probably what, English? I'm assuming maybe
I,
Welsh,
I,
something like
I
that.
believe so. Yeah.
So English to Australian, it is not the same accent, but it's also not super different, especially if you're an American with an untrained ear. I can usually tell the difference, but not always.
No, but I mean, I think that would be a great cross, whether it's Gwendolyn Christie or Rhea Ripley. I mean, bring
As
them in.
long as I mean, shit, the bar right now would be Ronda Rousey, which when she was in Fast 8, I don't know.
Oh yeah,
She
yeah. I forgot she was in that.
she had one line and she was terrible. like her whole purpose in the movie, she was somebody's like bodyguard or muscle or something like that. She got into a fight with Michelle Rodriguez because of course she did.
Yeah.
And it's Michelle Rodriguez, so of course Michelle, she took a couple lumps but ultimately whooped the shit out of her. Yes, we all know that that wouldn't happen in real life, but this is a movie. Whatever.
Yeah.
But even in the delivery of the one line, because she saw Michelle Rodriguez like starting to square up and everything, she's like, "Finally, I was starting to get bored." I'm like, "What the fuck was that accent?"
Well, what didn't she have a part in one of the Expendables movies as well?
She did the fourth one, which I still haven't seen that one yet. Um, I think I heard the fourth one was better than the third one. I know the third one, they made a really, really stupid decision in dulling down some of the language and the explosions and the gore, blah blah blah. They took it down to PG-13, which was completely stupid because the people going to see this movie, you have Dolph Lundgren, you have Bruce Willis, you have Sylvester Stallone. None of their fans are under 18. Why the fuck are you putting this under an R rating? But I heard she was terrible in the Expendables too.
I seen parts of that because I thought I saw her passing, but I really didn't watch it. It's to me it was just, hey, let's get a bunch of these old action stars together and make a movie, and it's like wonderful.
Well,
Like I want to see a
going
bunch of 60-year-old men running around trying to save the world.
Well, the difference is with the Expendables, they know what they are. You know what this is when you walk into it, and they don't take themselves overly seriously. Chuck Norris threw in a fucking Chuck Norris joke when he introduced his character. Um, uh, Jet Li's character quite literally was, I hope this was a code name. I really hope this was a code name. His name was Yin Yang.
Oh,
I'm like, you racist sons of bitches. But that's something you kind of expect when you come into something like the Expendables. But kind of going back to what we talked about last week with wrestlers making that transition, Rhea Ripley is really really good at cutting a promo. She knows how to speak, she knows how to project, she knows her timing, so she can cut a very good promo. So does that translate to acting? No, not necessarily, but I do think she could do it, especially if you start her off easy, like with a Drax type role, because the reason Drax was written so stiff was to accommodate Batista's lack of experience, which we've already talked about on this show, like how we think that he's grown. But if you started off Rhea Ripley with something like Drax, to where it's intentionally wooden, and then you ease her into the more complex roles, I think she could fucking kill it.
yeah.
And we know
But
she's not afraid to get physical.
bring her into John Wick 5.
Oh, fuck yes. Well, but can she be on his side? Because I really don't want to see him have to kill her.
I don't know if Keanu would want to kill her.
Probably not, because he seems the nicest fucking dude in Hollywood, which
Yeah,
it's not a high bar, but he still is.
yeah. And on that note, we have run out of time, so we thank you for being here and Men Behind the Curtain. Tune in next week when we have no idea what we're talking about, as usual.
Yep. As always, thank you for watching and or listening. Feel free to check us out on Facebook. Please help us get those likes up. Feel free to send more shit to either his email or our email, either or. Honestly, it's always a good time. But other than that, take care. We'll let y'all know when we know more about episode 6 with Valmont, which I think you said is done or it's ready to go.
Yes, yes.
So I don't know when it's going to get released. We'll find that out. Maybe I'll have something more for you guys next week. But other than that, y'all have a good one.
Take care.